It was a Tuesday afternoon in my quiet Portland apartment when the envelope slid through the mail slot with a soft thud that echoed louder than it should have. Thick cream paper, gold trim, and a wax seal that screamed pretension. No return address. But the second my fingers brushed it, a chill ran down my spine. I knew. I always knew when it was from them. The invitation inside unfolded like a carefully staged betrayal, a memorial brunch in Sedona to honor the legacy of my grandmother Aloan Voss. The guest list read like a family portrait with one face missing, mine. Vivian and Grant Ellis. My parents. Brielle Ellis. My sister. And guest. Nova Ellis was nowhere to be found. I pressed the card flat against the kitchen counter, the paper cool under my palms, and let the absence sink in. Not shocked. Hurt. Yes. But the sharp edges had dulled into something colder over the years. Time doesn't heal, it just teaches you the shape of the wound. Outside, Oregon's fall sky grayed over, giving me space to breathe through the grief. I glanced at the clock, 20 minutes gone staring at that card. My tea sat cold beside me. In the drawer by the sink rested a dark wooden box, corners worn smooth by time. Aloan's box. She'd given it to me a month before she passed, whispering it was for emergencies. I'd never opened it until now. Inside lay a USB drive labeled in her elegant handwriting, Nova. Use when ready. Beside it, an unopened envelope sealed with my name. Memories stirred unbidden, pulling me back to the summer I turned 17, the year I still believed family bonds could mend. Brielle had texted me out of the blue. Let's start fresh. Just us girls. One weekend in Sedona. No drama. The period at the end felt sincere. No emojis softening the edges. I wanted to believe it. Needed to. Mom handed me a travel-size SPF 70 with a tight smile that never touched her eyes. Use this. Don't forget. No hug. No have fun. Dad loaded the trunk with Brielle's oversized bags, designer hiking gear, yoga mats, everything polished and perfect while I stood there like an afterthought. The drive south stretched through blistering heat, empty highways humming with static. Brielle dominated the playlist with upbeat empowerment anthems, laughing too loud at her own stories. I sat in the back, camera bag on my lap, black sun hat from Grandma perched on my head. It's not fashion, she'd said when gifting it. It's survival. Sedona's red rocks rose like ancient guardians. Iron-rich air thick and dry. We hiked a trail Aloan once loved, the path winding through towering formations that glowed orange in the afternoon light. About 3 miles in, Brielle pointed ahead to a ridge catching fire from the sun. Go snap some shots there. The light's perfect. We'll wait right here. Her smile was easy, rehearsed. Mom adjusted her sunglasses. Dad didn't look up from his phone. Something fell off. But I nodded. Camera slung over my shoulder. And headed out. The rocks were stunning up close. Layers of time etched in stone. I crouched for angles. Lens dusted. Cursing the glare. 10 minutes passed. Maybe 15. When I turned back, the trail was empty. No voices. No car. Just wind scraping dust across my skin. My pack, spare water, GPS, charger was gone too, left by the car. Panic built slowly, heat thickening my blood, lips cracking. I circled wide, calling names that dissolved into silence. By hour 1, water gone. By hour 2, legs trembling. By hour 3, the sun accused me with every glance. I found shallow shade under a ledge, barely 2 feet deep, and crawled in. Camera out on instinct. I hit record. My name is Nova Ellis. I was left here on the East Ridge Trail. They said they'd wait. They didn't. Voice cracking. Breath shallow. I described the betrayal. Hid the camera in a rock crevice wrapped in a scarf Brielle had once mocked, and scrawled a note on a gum wrapper. If you find this, please help. I was abandoned, not lost. Slipped it into my sock. Then stillness claimed me. Anger rationed better than water. Body curling small against the cruel blue sky. Footsteps on gravel pulled me from the gray edges of consciousness. Not frantic, but steady, purposeful. I barely managed to roll over, squinting through dust and exhaustion. A tall figure knelt beside me, broad-shouldered silhouette against the fading light. "You're Nova, aren't you?" His voice was low, rough from silence. I tried to sit. Failed. He offered water, cool and life-giving, though I coughed most of it up at first. "I'm Jax Harlan. Your grandmother alone told me you might need help one day. Said to watch for a storm with your eyes." He didn't ask details. Didn't call authorities or suggest family. Instead, he wrapped me in a blanket, carried me to his truck, and drove to a remote cabin smelling of pine and wood polish. I woke on a cot in clean clothes, skin bandaged, nightstand holding water and crackers. A note in block letters, "You're safe. Take your time." Jax returned later, listening quietly as I shared fragments, the hike, the abandonment, the missing pack. "You're not crazy," he said simply. "You're the one who wouldn't play their game." 2 days later, steady enough to stand, Jax retrieved a steel box from under floorboards. Inside, a letter from Aloan. "If you're reading this, they chose money over blood." A hand-drawn map circled the exact crevice where I'd hidden my camera. A thumb drive marked evidence. I copied everything, memorized the trail, made backups. Jax connected me with a trusted paralegal in Oregon for a quiet, fresh start, name adjustments, legal protections, a clean break. "You don't have to vanish," he said. "Become someone they can't touch." Over 6 months, I rebuilt in Portland. Community college classes. A small apartment with locks I controlled. No family visits. Trauma sharpened me. Not hardened, focused, steady, quiet. I store the evidence in a fireproof box. Untouched for years, but always known. Therapy attempts back then had been twisted, Mom driving me to sessions, labeling my instability and paranoia on intake forms behind my back. Brielle fed stories of my suspicious nature. The therapist saw trauma-induced delusions, not deliberate abandonment. I found those papers years later while sorting Aloan's things. Proof of control, not care. Childhood echoes filled the gaps. Brielle, always the favorite. Her accomplishments celebrated while mine were sidelined. Inheritance whispers grew louder as Aloan's health faded. The Sedona estate. Investments. All tempting. I documented everything in notebooks, conversations, texts, dates, quoting later therapy wisdom. People don't lie to you. Sometimes they edit you out. Aloan's last words haunted. Trust your instincts, even when no one else does. The USB finally loaded years later. Video flickering to life. Wind. My younger self approaching the ridge. Brielle's voice off camera. "We'll wait here." Then stillness. "She won't even notice." The words confirmed what I'd felt but couldn't name. I paused it. Heart steady. Clarity washing over me. They hadn't just left me. They'd planned it. The drive back to Arizona felt endless. Greyhound windows framing blurred towns and strangers. I didn't sleep. Mind replaying evidence. Stealing for confrontation. Stepping into Sedona's thinner air. The estate loomed larger. Gates modern and cold. Guests in white contrasting my black attire. The valet hesitated at my uninvited presence. "Private event." "I know exactly what this is," I replied calmly. "Inside." Marble floors and gold accents screamed new money over Aloan's simple wisdom. Floral centerpieces towered. Portraits lined walls, family at galas. Awards. Brielle prominent. No trace of me. Cropped. Erased. Surgically removed from group photos, including the desert one I remembered posing for. Guest list confirmed it. My name absent. Brielle's highlighted in gold. Conversations hummed of legacy and strength. I slipped toward the hall where Brielle spoke at the podium. Grandma believed in family. Roots. Heirlooms passed down. I stepped forward unannounced. Sorry I'm late. Silence cracked the room. I wasn't invited. But I was never absent. Brielle froze. Glass mid-toast. Mask slipping into disbelief. Parents' faces paled. Mom's hand shaking. Dad blinking, unrecognizing. Brielle recovered with forced charm. What a surprise. Thrilled you're here for family celebration. I smiled tightly. Exactly. Let's tell the full story. Tension thickened as I recounted the high school essay stolen by Brielle. Same topic. Title. Foundation. But her byline. Funding her path while I got nothing. Guests gasped. Phone out. Podcast audio played. Brielle tearfully narrating, losing my sister, and building resilience on grief. She cried for a ghost she buried. I said. Built her brand on my supposed death. Room soured. I held up the flash drive. This has more. Video. Audio. Receipts. AV Tech hesitated until I insisted. Screen lit with shaky footage. Wind. My walk to the ridge. Brielle's will wait here. 10 minutes of emptiness. Then, she won't even notice. Just drive. Dad's quieter voice. We can't turn back now. Murmurs erupted. Mom stood shakily. Let's not turn this into something it's not. I faced her. You packed the car. Saw me standing there. Brielle descended the podium. Voice cracking. It wasn't supposed to go that far. But you hoped it would, I countered. Police entered on cue. Called by my prior filing. Affidavit from days after. Filed as Jane Doe. Ignored despite evidence. Email chains showed dismissed reports. A witness who booked supplies but stayed silent was called out. Silence permission. The room chilled as officers approached. Brielle. Mom. Dad identified. I handed over files, sworn statement. Ignored communications proving deliberate burial of truth. Confusion doesn't draft legal paperwork, I told Dad's weak protest. Cowards do nothing. Shame rippled. Guests stood, clutching belongings. One woman shielding her child. Valora, no. Brielle pleaded. You don't understand. But I did. Officers led them away down a side hall. Shoes clicking on marble. Door closing like finality. Aloan's attorney, Mr. Halbridge, entered measuredly. For those uncertain, the notarized will. He read aloud. Astria, no. Nova Ellis inherits all. Overriding priors if betrayal by bloodline. Dated before diagnosis. Video of Aloan reading it existed. Brielle accused manipulation. Halbridge countered with timeline proof. Cameras flashed. Capturing cracked masks, tears, downcast eyes. Poise shattered. Headline image later. The ones who erased her. Board members apologized stiffly. I cut them off. You let it happen because convenient. Alone in Aloan's garden. Rosemary overgrown. Roses defiant. I retrieved my old sketchbook from her desk. Note inside. Return to her when ready. Fingers traced words. Feeling her presence briefly. Hotel room later. Phone rang. Media calling me the girl who wouldn't disappear. I agreed to speak selectively. Indira, Mom, found alone by roses. I didn't know it would go that far. I let silence hang. But you hoped it wouldn't return. She nodded brokenly. No embrace. Just shared space with wild beauty. That night, flight home. Apartment felt small. I packed to restart on my terms. Journaled on Alohan's pages. I found my way home. Headlines exploded. Left to die at 17. Now she owns everything. Calls flooded. Podcasts. NPR. I shared the desert recording publicly. Shaky voice declaring abandonment. Brielle's lawyer requested private meet. My reply. You buried your future mistaking silence for surrender. No response. At a survivors summit in Portland, I addressed women who endured fire. My story isn't unique. That's its power. They tried burying my voice for a decade. I lived on anger. Projected words. Not lucky. Angry enough to live. Applause rose like returning breath. With inheritance, I founded Alohan's Way, support for teen girls escaping unsafe homes. Teaching maps. Water purification. Instincts. Storytelling. Studio blended art. Design. Resilience, planting. Painting. Laughing. Journal entry. Didn't reclaim family. Reclaimed self. Justice is distance. Chosen safety. Trails behind studio bloomed wildflowers. A girl, tough-eyed Kayla, asked if I was scared then. Every second, I smiled fully. Armor gone. One morning. Package on mat. Uncropped photo of me and Alohan laughing in garden. Note this never left my desk. Sacred warmth in hands. They couldn't steal that bond. Standing in mirror later. Reflection steady. I know who I am. That's all that matters. Some erasures fail against seeds that grow wilder. The question lingers. What price family loyalty when blood chooses greed? Truth. Once buried. Roots deeper in light.